The idea that girls don't watch cartoons has been a long-standing belief in the animation industry for a long time. The idea is that instead, girls play with dolls, so leave the cartoons for the boys. This is an archaic mindset and obviously wrong, but yet it still prevails today. Growing up, there was The Winx, Witch, Totally Spies, etc., etc., and the shows that don't mind indulging in feminine things, cute characters, glitter, sparkles, and clothes, but still had a backstory. These girls still fought for their friends, had somewhat complex inner stories, and could do it all in a cute outfit. Something I've noticed is the visible decline in shows like these, and I was wondering why that is. So, today we're going to talk about it. Hey guys, it's Spooksy, back at it again with another video. Friendly fucking reminder to follow me on Twitter. It's pretty sad right now. Just know it's in the link in the description below. Okay, back to the video. Marika's Ladybug is a mess. It has convoluted writing, butchered characterization, a painfully obtuse and rude showrunner, but yet it still has an incredibly large and devoted fan base. And the fan base isn't unaware of the flaws in the show either. In fact, not only do they actively point them out, they produce fan content fixing the problems they see in the show and rewriting stories into something they wanted it to be at the beginning. Season after season, the show arguably gets worse, but yet the fans still cling on to it. And I have a reasoning for that. It hits a niche. That niche is one of the few cartoons that are actually aimed at young girls. It has these ideas of crushes and getting jealous and convoluted love triangles, cute transformations, and the idea of getting more confident in yourself. I'm mostly referring to the first season when I referenced that because while at the time I didn't think it was the strongest season, in hindsight it only went downhill since then. When I reference girl cartoons, I want to highlight that I'm talking about cartoons with a traditional female audience in mind. Having a female main character doesn't necessarily mean a cartoon is a girl cartoon. I would not consider the Owl House to be specifically a girl cartoon. I would consider maybe Marika's Ladybug or the Bratz, the Winx, etc., etc. A key factor in finding this out is to just take a look at the kind of toys they are selling. Are they selling action figures or dolls? I'm aware they're technically the same thing, but you get my point. Something that I don't hear people talk about is that children's animation on TV has always kind of started off as a very long toy commercial. A lot of cartoons from the 80s and 90s were made specifically to sell toys, and if a show had high ratings but didn't sell toys, that show was canceled. This is something that still greatly affects the animation industry today, and why America especially has a huge lack in adult animation. They don't know how to sell it. Women in animation are always pitching ideas, but studios turn them down because they aren't looking for girl shows or they already filled a girl quota. The idea is that girls can watch boy and girl shows, while boys can only watch boy shows, which is sad because if a show is good, a show is good. Anyone would watch it. Lauren Faust is someone who has been trying to get her own girly show or girl-centric show on the TV for literal years. And each time she came to something close, it had to sell toys. I'm going to summarize what Lauren Faust says here to avoid copyright. I started developing cartoons and series for girls. I would pitch shows to executives at different studios and people would really like the stories and really like the characters, but then tell me we don't want shows for girls. They were attributing the poor performance of these shows to the gender of the target audience instead of the quality of the shows. It was like banging my head against the wall. I just couldn't get through. Lauren Faust goes on to talk about how when she pitched her ideas about her own personal show, she actually got an opportunity to create My Little Pony. After most companies had one or maybe two girl-centric television series, they didn't really want any more. They didn't see the point of it. Most of their shows they wanted to produce had to be aimed at boys, or they had to be gender neutral, and there's this unique problem that comes with that line of thinking. Here's the issue. What we tend to look at as gender neutral always leans masculine. Pants are gender neutral, a skirt is not. Blue is gender neutral, but pink is not. So in the pursuit of gender neutrality, femininity is just cut out. What we consider gender neutral is just what's safe for men. And for animation, that's not a coincidence. Paul Dini was the writer for Batman the Animated Series. He had this to say. The original podcast is behind a paywall, but this is episode 52 of the podcast Batman and Fatman. If you want to see it for yourself, the part I'm about to read starts around the 39-minute mark. Dini says, "They're all for boys. We do not want the girls. I mean, I've heard executives say this, not where I am, but at other places saying like, we do not want girls watching this show." Smith asks, why? That's 51% of the population. Dini responds, "They do not buy toys. The girls buy different toys. The girls may watch the show." Smith interjects, "So you can sell them t-shirts if they don't." I disagree. I think girls buy toys as well. I mean, I mean, not as many as boys do, but sell them something else, man. Don't be lazy and like, well, I can't sell a girl a toy. Sell them a t-shirt, man. Sell them an umbrella with the character on it, something like that. But if it's not a toy, there's something else you could sell them. Like, just because you can't figure out your job, don't kill chances of like something that's going to reach an audience. That's just so self-defeating. These are the same people who go like, oh, girls don't read comics. Girls aren't into comics. It's all self-fulfilling prophecies. They just make it that way by going like, I can't sell him a toy, what's the point? Paul Dini responds, that's the thing, you know I hate being Mr. Sour Grapes here, but I'll just lay it on the line. That's the thing that got us canceled on Tower Prep, honest to God it was. Like, we need boys, but we need girls right there. Right one step behind the boys. This is the network talking. One step behind the boys, not as smart as the boys, not as interesting as the boys, but right there. And then we began writing stories that got into the two girls' backstories, and they were really interesting. And suddenly we had families and girls watching, and girls really became a big part of our audience. And sort of like they picked up that Harry Potter type of serialized way, which is what the Batman and Instinct really is going to kill. But Cartoon Network was saying, F no, we want the boys' action. It's boys' action, this goofy boy humor, we've got to get that in there, and we can't. And I'd say, but look at the numbers. We've got parents watching with their families, and when you break it down, yeah, but we've got too many girls, we need more boys. Smith responds, that's heartbreaking. Dini replies, and then that's why they canceled us. They put us on a show called Level Up, which is, goofy nerds fighting CG monsters. It's like, we don't want the girls because the girls won't buy toys. Well, we had a whole merchandise line for Tower Prep that they canned before it ever got on the launching pan because, like, boys buy the little spinny tops. They buy the action figures. Girls buy princesses. We're not selling princesses. So that's why there aren't any girl shows. We can say capitalism or stereotypes, but my final verdict is there's not enough women in the animation industry. Paul Dini isn't an isolated case. This is a huge belief that girls aren't a valuable market because they don't buy the merch they sell, when the reality is these men just don't know how to market to women, and they're blaming women for that. The men in the animation industry are marketing to themselves as children, the young little boy inside of them. And in order to get an authentic version of the little girl, we also need more women on the team. And don't get me wrong, a lot of women are fighting to fill that gap. Did you know that despite art and animation schools averaging 60% or more female, only 20% of creative roles are filled by women? So like sexism, it's prevalent. It's infuriating to see shows with incredibly huge female fan bases get the shit end of the stick because businesses don't know how to market to us. Therefore, see us as financially worthless. When the reality is, women are an incredibly lucrative demographic to have. So I didn't actually know where I was going with this video until I started researching it and realized, the actual reason why a lot of female shows aren't made is because if they're not selling dolls to us, they don't know what else to sell, which is kind of a wild concept. And I was thinking even harder about the kind of movies that actually get turned into live actions. Like, there's 6 Transformer movies, there's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, and like I said, these are things girls and guys can enjoy. But when you look back at all the female or girl-centered cartoons, I don't see a lot of them going to the big screen, let alone getting as big of a reception as those ones did. It's just food for thought. That's the video, guys. I hope you liked it. It's Spooksy signing out.